Hello, Boulder residents. Odds are you came to Boulder in search of beautiful scenery the area has to offer. In that time, you've likely passed an apple tree, such as the one in my friend's yard behind me here. Apple trees have a rich and extensive history in Boulder, dating back to the early 18th century. They provide many ecosystem services for the human and non-human residents around you. However, what does it have to do for you? Well, I will tell you. Well, these trees provide many services, including delicious and nutritious food, habitats, and soil regulation for all the residents around.
As you've likely heard, trees grow via a process called photosynthesis. This process requires three main components: water, sunlight, and carbon dioxide. Water enters the plant through the roots and is transported up through the vascular tissue called xylem. CO2 enters the plant through tiny pores on the leaves called stomata, and sunlight is absorbed by chlorophyll, a green pigment within the plant's leaves. These processes take place in two stages: the light reactions and the dark reactions, also known as light-independent reactions. Light-dependent reactions take place in the chloroplasts, where an energy particle from the sun, called a photon, hits the green chlorophyll pigment and excites all the local electrons into a higher energy state. This occurs in the thylakoid membrane of the chloroplast, and in the first phase, called photosystem 2. This excited electron is then moved by a mobile electron carrier and is replenished by the splitting of a water molecule, introducing more protons and, more importantly, electrons. Next, what's called the cytochrome complex pumps another proton into the thylakoid membrane. With this buildup of protons within the membrane, what's called a concentration gradient is created. With this pressure, protons are squeezed through an enzyme in the thylakoid membrane called ATP synthase. Using this energy, ATP synthase is able to phosphorylate ADP into a much higher energy state, ATP. The original electrons that entered the chloroplast have now lost their energy, so when more electrons are excited by photons, they can now enter photosystem 1, which are used to donate an electron to NADP+, creating NADPH, like ATP, a method of storing energy. This concludes the light-dependent reactions, and its product, ATP and NADPH, move into the stroma, the free layer of the chloroplast, to begin what's called the Calvin cycle, also known as the light-independent reactions. This begins with CO2 that entered the leaf through tiny pores, joining to a molecule called RUBP, resulting in RUBP-CO. Then, reduction occurs through the use of ATP and NADPH, provided by the light-dependent reactions, resulting in high-energy G3P molecules. These molecules are the ultimate result of photosynthesis, as they can be used for both structural and storage reasons. Leftover RUBP molecules and other substances do not leave the stroma. They are then recycled to regenerate the lost RUBP molecules, resulting in a repeating cycle, hence the name Calvin cycle.
By understanding how these trees work and grow, you can get them to work for your benefit and for many others as well.
In much simpler terms, think of the plant as a train. Photosynthesis is the mining of coal so that the energy can then be stored. When the train moves, the plant grows through cellular respiration.